A Christian preacher is set to sue the Metropolitan Police after being dragged through the courts despite officers acknowledging that her accuser had goaded her and she refused to take the bait. Now, Hazel Lewis was arrested while preaching after passers-by falsely claimed that she had called for gays and non-believers to be stabbed. Now, joining us now is Caroline Farrow, a UK campaign director and media commentator at Citizen Go, which is a community of active citizens that seeks to promote the participation of society in politics. Thank you very, very much for joining us. I mean, this is quite a concerning case, isn't it? That all it takes now is for somebody to essentially make something up about someone and the police can make your life a living hell for quite a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hazel Lewis was very fortunate in that she had the wherewithal to record what she was preaching. So first of all, the police accused her falsely of making homophobic and racist comments, and she had the audio to disprove that. And I think what's quite alarming is then they decided that they were going to go after her with a real zeal. So having discovered that she hadn't made any of these remarks, they then said, OK, well, we're going to charge you for causing, harassment, alarm and distress under the Public Order Act. And this also shows the danger of the Police Crime and Sentencing Act, which is supposedly coming into force if it goes through if it finishes its final stage in Parliament and the Lords, because this will mean anybody else saying anything that anybody else doesn't like could find themselves, subject to prosecution. Yeah,
100%. But I wonder, frankly, why on earth they decided to go after this Christian preacher. I mean, all too often you see pictures of, schools of Swan Primary School in Birmingham, for example, there where the head teacher decided that he wanted to actually just give them some education, not about being gay, but about not to bully gay people. I mean, they turned up some parents there with a mobile billboard saying, homosexuals burn in hellfire and things. I don't remember there being any arrests there. There's also obviously the recent case in Batley Grammar School as well. Well, do you think they maybe see Christian preachers as a bit of a soft target?
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Hazel Lewis, her case is very unusual in that this is the first woman to be arrested, the first female street preacher to be arrested since, I think, 1997, when there was another one, Alison Redmond. And again, her case was a landmark. But Hazel Lewis, is far from being the only preacher facing this. So there's currently Christian Concern who are, helping out with the legals. They've got another case of another Christian Pastor John Sherwood. He's a grandfather, and he got dragged down from his podium. He got arrested, and then he was asked by the police officers if he had grandchildren and what he would teach his children and grandchildren in terms of what it means to homosexuality and LGBT issues. And frankly, that's none of the police's business. The police are not there, to police your own personal religious views. The police are there to stop crime and disorder. And actually, there is a freedom of speech. There is as the landmark case in 1997 said, actually the freedom of speech does not extend to, you're allowed to be annoying. You're allowed to say things that people disagree with. This is not harassment, alarm and distress. And as you say, there's a very unequal attitude toward how Christian preachers are being treated and how people of other faiths.
But it is the case that there are some religious views that are problematic and they're not just annoying or irritating to somebody. Some would say that they do actively perhaps call for violence against particular groups or hatred towards particular groups. So, where do you sort of draw the line? But of course, people have religious freedom in this country and thank God, but that doesn't mean that some religious views are not worth calling out and might not be discriminatory.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's a difference between calling out religious views, but actually everybody has freedom of speech. Of course, you can call out religious views, but what is already illegal is you cannot incite violence against another group. You cannot do anything that incites violence, but it's a very fine line because, for example, we're seeing as well, we see a lot of gender critical feminists. There's Marion Miller up in Scotland who is being prosecuted for hate crime because she posted a photograph of a suffragette ribbon on a lamppost, and this was supposedly a death threat. Unless somebody is actually calling for violence and is saying this group should be driven out of society. This group should not be allowed civil rights. This group should be criminalised and prosecuted. Yes, of course, that is already illegal. But actually, when you look at a religious view, what is a problematic religious view? A lot of people would say, traditional Christianity is a problematic religious view because we have, traditional beliefs on what constitutes male and female. We have traditional beliefs on what constitutes marriage. Now, that is not calling for hatred. That's not calling for persecution. That's not asking for people of different beliefs and sexualities to be criminalised. We're just saying this is our belief, and this is what we want to, to share with other believers, and to say, okay, if you, sorry, I won't proselytise, but this is a sort of truth that people want to spread. And when you have, religious leaders like pastors being prosecuted and dragged through the courts, I mean, it's a horrendous ordeal. I mean, what Hazel Lewis went through. Okay, at the end of the day, she hasn't got a criminal record, but she should not have been thrown in jail. You shouldn't have grandfathers thrown in jail. And what next?
She shouldn't have had to have gone through that, but it's great to have people like you speaking out about it. Caroline Farrow there, thank you very much.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.